Mr. Duck, how are you? And Mr. Flamingo, bless your heart. And I'll turn on the water. Oh, how nice and green everything is. And then I'll go over and sit on the bench. And I'll pick up my umbrella. So,
bird baths don't make it.
But bathing your bird makes it.
The 1970 Plymouth makes it. Road Runner. Plymouth makes it.
On the 70 Plymouth Road Runner monogram 124 scale. Kind of got a little start on it. I'm doing my usual tweaking and cutting. Not a whole lot on this car. Nothing special. Kind of in the vein of the Hammer car from Fast and Furious that was featured for just a short bit in that movie, which was a 70 Road Runner. It's going to be in the vein of that car, but it's going to have a lot of differences. Obviously different paint, different wheels, a few different options and tweaks. I'm not trying to emulate that car, but it's going to come out similar to that car as far as stance and whatnot. But anyway, not much on the body. Actually, the body is pretty nice in this model. There's very little work to be done on it, you know, other than your typical seam lines. But as far as flash or warpage or sink marks and stuff like that, not a whole lot. It's actually a pretty good pop. Not really doing much to the body as far as modifications. Now, of course, to accommodate the larger thickness wheels that I'm using, which are going to be the Pegasus Magnums. These are the 23s, but this is 1/24th model. These tires are the same diameter as the kit tires, but obviously because they're thicker, I had to do a little modification. So I kind of, I guess you call it mini tubbed the chassis, just to accommodate those tires. And I did modify the axles a little bit and suspension, or I'm in the process of doing that. And for the tub, the actual tubs themselves, I used energy drink bottles, or a bottle. Great bottle, great diameter, and this stuff glues with your typical model glues. It glues real well, so there's no need to use epoxy or anything with these. I mean, I used regular old model ester glue and a little bit of Tenax or Ambroid, and they glued right in real good. So yeah, I mini tubbed it out a little bit. The grill, I cut out the center of the grill. I'm gonna just a little touch I decided to add is I'm gonna add some screen. This is just some brass screen, and I'm gonna screen in the grill. I guess you can see that. Probably leave it brass. I kind of like the look of the brass. Don't know if I'm gonna chrome this or paint it yet. Haven't decided on paint for the model at all, really. I'm not going to install the air grabber. As you can see, I'm in the process of filling in the hole just to keep it clean. Got started on the motor. As you can see, I put a lot of it together and got it primed, and of course sanded and filled and whatnot. But I'm going to go with a more modern, even though it's a vintage motor, I'm going to go with a modern paint job on it, maybe some type of metallic, something that's kind of is going to be set off in the engine bay, you know. Rear suspension, it had the exhaust attached to it. I cut the exhaust off, sanded it separate, and then sanded this, cut and sanded this separate, so those are separate pieces now. I may try to use the standard exhaust, or at least the majority of it. And I modified this, obviously, and you can see some pins. Those are for the wheels. This is something I've been doing lately on these wheels. I did it on my last build, and I really like this idea, is that I use a brass tubing and I make a bushing. So I drill out the hole for a press fit for this brass tubing, and then I use a piece of telescoping brass tubing that fits real good in there as my pin. So instead of having to do a bunch of worrying about it being loose and wobbly, these fit just really nice and snug on there, and glue on really nice. They do have just the tiniest bit of adjustment, you know, so that you can kind of tweak it when you final glue them. But I like this idea, and the reason I'm doing that is because in my past build, at least, I kept, you know, putting the wheels on and off and adjusting and cutting and putting them on and off and doing just a lot of putting the wheels on and taking them off. Well, the pin that I was using was wearing out that hole real easily, and it was when I put the wheel on, when I finally got to the point of gluing them, they were real loose. I mean, it doesn't take much for them to be loose. So I've gone to this putting a bushing in these wheels and using a corresponding pin. Here it is on the front. You can see where I've had to chop to bring the wheels in a little bit. So I've chopped that, but then I installed a pin, and it actually goes through into the frame just to make it more sturdy this way. I know that's not realistic to have that running through there, but it's going to be black and you're never going to notice it, and you can't tell it from the bottom anyway. But it makes a good solid pin, and I haven't glued them in yet. I'm kind of saving that for, you know, later assembly, because I can paint this separate if I want to. I got the bench seats sanded and primed and all, but I may not use these. I think I'm going to try to use bucket seats and build a console. But I went ahead and did this anyway. Got this ready just in case I can't find something. But I believe I have some in my stash that'll work out good. And that's it. You know, here's the separate exhaust now, or one of them. You know, it had this big chunk between it that was attaching to the axle. I took all that out, sanded these down. Same with the axle, like I said. But as you can see, I don't do any painting right off the bat. It's just, maybe I'm just too scared to do that. I like to do all my modifications and fit all my pieces and know that everything's going to go together before I start all my painting, you know. And that includes the body. So even though it does take time for the body to dry, once I get to the point where I'm confident that everything's going to go together, I'm not going to have to sand or cut or hack or do anything to put the model together. I'll go ahead and paint the body, get it drying, you know, or in curing, especially if you're using enamels, and then I'll go to the point of painting the chassis and all the different components and all that. And by that time, it's at the rate that I build, you know, it's been 3 or 4 days, a week, whatever. So that's my update. Just wanted to say one thing. You know, I know people are passionate about this hobby, and that passion runs deep for a lot of people. And when things go wrong or whatever, you know, I mean, don't let it get to you. Don't let it, you know, influence you and publicly, you know, voice your passions. You know, think twice about it. Just, you know, take it easy. Take it easy, as Doc would say. You know, enjoy the hobby, and thoughts to important things should be, you know, in the forefront. So, you know, to everybody out there, carry on. It's a great community, great people, and I'm proud to be part of it. And I'll see y'all in the next update. Thanks for watching. Bye.